photo of you. Wow.
Wait, how come we didn't have that one when we do this?
Wait, the car is incredible. Really incredible. Nailed it.
We're about to take a common SUV and transform it into the Bandit Tactical Vehicle from the Borderlands movie. We're also going to drive it nearly 3,000 miles to San Diego Comic-Con. This is Prop Shop. This is definitely Prop Shop's biggest build and largest activation to date. With just 6 weeks to complete the build and prepare for an epic 10-day-long ultimate Borderland road trip adventure, we're gonna need a lot of help. In the new Borderlands movie, an eclectic team attempts a journey filled with danger and hopes of scoring treasure beyond their imagination. Chris and I will definitely need a team of our own to achieve the goals that we have in this episode. There are 3 goals in this project. Goal number 1, the crew. Before we can even begin building our ride, we need to recruit some Borderland characters to join us on our adventure. So I'll be recruiting some of my favorite cosplayers to join us on this road trip. Goal number 2, the vehicle. After we have our cosplayers working on their costumes, Chris and I need to transform a standard SUV into the Bandit Tactical Vehicle from the Borderlands movie. This vehicle needs to remain street legal with all of its safety features unhindered by our cosmetic adjustments. Goal 3, the trip. After we have our crew and our vehicle, we're going to need to drive the Borderland Tactical Vehicle from our base in Knoxville, Tennessee to San Diego Comic-Con, where we'll join up with other Borderlands fans at Lionsgate's Moxie Bar activation at the convention. We'll also be making stops at Regal theaters we pass along the way and celebrating our halfway milestone at an amazing Mountain Dew Borderlands motel experience in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now that's a lot for us to get done, so let's dive right in. The crew. Borderlands is all about the crew you bring along for the ride, and our build was no different. Luckily, 2 veteran cosplayers answered the call to adventure with us and joined our merry band of misfits. I've been a friend and fan of Michelle at Battlecat Cosplay for years, and she's perfect to cosplay Lilith. And Michelle's friend Janie at Crash Candy Cosplay has done multiple Borderland cosplays in the past and will make a fantastic Tiny Tina. While we build the tactical vehicle, Michelle and Janie did a remarkable job of creating movie-accurate cosplays for both of these characters. With our crew assembled, it's time to tackle our biggest challenge, constructing the Bandit Tactical Vehicle. This cosplay vehicle needs to look like the tactical vehicle our Borderlands heroes used in the movie, but it also has to safely travel nearly 3,000 miles to San Diego. So we need to make sure that what we do to transform this vehicle doesn't impact any of its safety features, and also it needs to be affixed in a way that nothing will come loose, even at interstate highway speeds. To pull this off, I've connected with the person I trust the most to have our safety as a top priority. That would be my dad, Bob Douglas. He's not only going to have our safety as a top priority, he also has years of experience modifying vehicles.
Bob Douglas calls this his dream machine. It's kind of an all-weather, motorized tricycle. It's also an attention grabber.
In the 80s, my father fabricated a 3-wheel car from the front end of a VW Beetle, the engine and back wheel of a wrecked Honda 550 motorcycle, and Corvette body material. This dream machine was a thrill to ride growing up, and his out-of-the-box thinking definitely inspired me to be a creative person and excel in engineering and problem solving. Next stop, tactical vehicle.
All right, so we got a vehicle to build and only a few weeks to do it. And luckily, Lionsgate has provided us all of these fantastic reference photos. So we got a leg out in that department.
Yeah, just kind of make a framework on the outside for the panels to go on and attach and be secure.
If we have wood attaching everything and keeping everything stable, what are we covering this with that we can eventually paint and weather and modify? Because that's true.
And strong enough.
Yeah.
So I've looked at a few different things and I brought this. This is foam PVC. So like a PVC pipe, but they blow air into it. It comes in sheets, 4x8 sheets. It's waterproof. It's pretty durable. You can heat form it. The only downside is it's expensive.
Since the foam PVC sheets were very expensive, we leveraged cardboard and masonite templates to make sure that the pieces fit and function correctly before we fabricated the final parts in PVC. We started with the back doors. To change the shape of the vehicle, we had to remove the curve of the SUV, specifically at the top and bottom of the sides. To do this, we attached pressure-treated 2x4 pieces cut to the correct angle at the base and the top of the door. Then we cut out cardboard templates, which we transferred to masonite templates for final testing. These simulated how the door panels would work prior to us having to create them in the higher-priced PVC sheets. Once the rear door templates were completed, we moved on to the back panels. These were easier as we could attach a solid wood strip all the way along the back section at the midway point of the SUV. These mount points allowed us to mount our test masonite panels and confirm that everything worked and fitted perfectly before we cut out the PVC. With the back section in place, we were able to start constructing the rocket boxes, which sit where the back windows of the SUV were. These were fabricated with plywood and more foam PVC. We made them hollow as Chris has plans to wire up our rockets so they light up when fired. The back hatch was relatively straightforward. 2 main pieces are required, and we mounted 2x4s onto the SUV's metal body so that we could attach the upper and lower parts. We cheated the size of the rear window to allow more visibility than the movie version would have had, and we maintained our lighted license plate panel to keep the vehicle street legal. After the back was roughly finished, we moved on to the front. In this area, the connection points between the windshield, the hood, the fenders, and the front doors are all critical to make this work. And several cheats would have to be made here. Cheat number 1. We're keeping the rearview mirrors. The movie vehicle doesn't have any, but we will. Cheat number 2. We have to maintain the vehicle's original headlights. That means that they will have to be uncovered while we're driving and covered when we're stopped. Cheat number 3. We're not covering the vehicle's windshield like the movie version. This means that we'll be using the base vehicle's windshield and windshield wipers. But because we want it to look like the movie version, we need to narrow the windshield. So we've opted to bring our PVC armor plating down to the shade line on the windshield, and then modify the wipers to match the new height. We built a template for the windshield piece out of masonite to test fit it. Then we cut out the PVC version, which we epoxied to the windshield. With that connection cemented permanently, we only needed to mount some 2x4 supports on the metal above the windshield to secure that edge of the PVC. This will be later covered with a 2-inch PVC pipe to match the look of the reinforced tubing the tactical vehicle has in the movie. With all that we had learned to this point, the front door builds went quickly. We used all the same techniques and materials for these, and then turned our attention to the hood and fenders. The hood will need the biggest adjustments to its shape. To achieve the Bandit Tactical Vehicle's look, we're going to need to flatten out the hood and build fenders and a grille that look like the movie vehicle. As the hood section of this build will be under some of the biggest wind stresses, we need to make sure that everything we do is extremely secure. We've achieved this by making multiple connection points from our supporting wooden frame into the SUV's metal hood and fenders. We'll strengthen this with carriage bolts through the hood to ensure that our underlying structure is rock solid. Once we build the structure of the hood shape and attach it, we'll then add foam PVC plastic to cover that and give us a uniform surface and shape to paint. We're at the home stretch of our fabrication, and with some CNC cut parts that Chris designed from reference photos, cut in 1/2-inch and 3/4-inch thick foam PVC sheets, we were able to construct both the dominant front fenders as well as all of the rear fender details. An important part of the front fender build was to maintain the right gap between the fender and the hood, as the hood needs to be able to pass by the fenders when we open it. To maintain its structural integrity, we screwed and bolted more wooden supports to the base vehicle's body and then attached the PVC pieces to those supports. We'll also need to build support pipes that attach to the hood in a way that matches the reference photos. We'll need to engineer these so that they're removable so we can still open the hood. And lastly, we'll need to build our own grille for the vehicle that can be removed so we can reach the hood latch. We finished up the main fabrication by gluing detail elements on the PVC armor plates. These were everything from 3D printed hex bolt heads to door handles, latches, step plates, and rivet heads. Here's a look at how the completed vehicle looked prior to painting.
Just finished washing it before painting it. So when we're parked, there's sections that sit right here in this area and on the tail lights in the back. There's 2 big pipes that go down and connect to that box right there. And then when we come back, there's pieces that fit there. When we come back, primer and paint.
While the foam PVC material was easy to use for fabrication, it is tricky to paint. Chris did countless testing on different adhesive promoters, primers, and paint combinations. We landed on a paint process that included the following steps. 1. Wash every part of the build with mild soapy water and air dry. 2. Mask off all windows, mirrors, tires, and other surfaces that will not get paint. 3. Apply 2 even coats of the special primer specifically designed for plastics. 4. Paint the detail sections with the dark gray color from our screen caps. 5. Mask the detail sections and then hit the main body of the vehicle with our color. 6. Remove the masking. The resulting paint process worked amazingly well and is very scratch resistant. After it was painted, we had to upgrade the tires to something more off-road. We found a great set of these and eventually painted the wheels a flat black with Plasti-Dip. This really completed the look of the tactical vehicle.
All right, so my first time driving the Bandit cross town from where we built it and painted it over to my shop to do all the electronics. You get some interesting looks in this vehicle, I'll tell you that. I just drove it on I-40 for about 15 miles, and yeah, there was a long line of cars behind me. Nobody wanted to pass. So, I don't know what that means, but it was a lot of fun.
In addition to changing the outside of the car, we wanted to extend the Cosplay, or Carsplay, to the dashboard. But with our only reference being a brief glimpse of the interior in the trailer, there wasn't enough reference to really build a one-for-one replication. So we decided to cut ourselves a little slack and build a functional Borderland-inspired version of the dashboard. Chris is a master of digital displays, and I can't wait to hear what he's got in mind for this part of the build. All right, so we're deep into building the car, and we've created the boxes that the rockets are going to go on the side of the car. You have something planned for the actual thrusters?
I do. So I've modeled some kind of basic thrusters, and I think this is the design I want to go with.
Okay, that looks like the reference photos.
So it looks kind of like what we can see from the photos, but I also want to light it up.
Okay.
I think if we just stick regular lights in here, you won't see anything. So I've got this insert that kind of nests inside the rocket engine like that, and it's made out of a transparent filament. And then I got these LED trailer lights. So I've got a red and I've got an amber. They're going to mount to this flange, which will mount to this. So they will be on the top of this flange, and then this can go into the box. We can run all the wiring through here, and then run that into the car.
Perfect. And so it'll run off the car's power.
It'll run off the car's power. We can connect these to a switch so that when we hit a button, these things light up, and you know we can kind of make it a little interactive.
You mentioned the dash. What are you cooking up?
What I think we'll do is we'll kind of do an homage to what they've got in the film, right?
Yep.
So my thought is we'll take over the driver's console, so the speed, RPM, fuel, temperature, all the stuff.
The actual indicators from the car.
Yeah, so our car has the analog gauges.
Right.
We'll cover that with a screen, and we'll make our own gauges. And to do that, we're working with Bright Sign, so they've donated a couple players. Like they've done for some other builds.
Yep.
This is one of their higher end players because we're going to need to tap into the car's computer. So that'll be the driver's screen.
Okay.
And then in the center, we see kind of in the trailer, there's a center console which has a round screen in it. My thought was GPS. Using a Bright Sign.
Right.
And this little GPS module from Amazon, we will actually build our own GPS system. We'll load in the map of the entire United States.
Okay.
And
we don't have a lot of room there, though.
We don't. Okay. So I also reached out to another company called Bluefin, which makes these frameless screens, which is what this is.
I gotcha.
So without the plastic housing on the screen, we save several inches.
Okay.
Because space is a premium on this dash.
Right. Yep. Yep.
And so we've got a few different size screens that we're going to put in there for the center console and the driver console. And we might have to do some dash modifications, so we might have to...
You mean cutting out the dash?
Okay,
all right. Yeah. Yep.
But these will fit in nicely. I've done the measurements and 3D scans, and these will fit perfectly. And I think it will give us the exact look and feel that we're after.
What's on the passenger side?
So the passenger side, I want to do something, I want to make it really interactive.
Okay.
Right. So I think we do a button console over there.
I love button consoles.
Everybody loves buttons. Who doesn't want to sit and just flip buttons? So I've got a bunch of buttons in the shop. I've collected them over the years.
You have an amazing collection of cool buttons.
And we're gonna
we're
gonna leverage the Bose sound system that's in the car.
Yep, that's a good sound system.
And on the far right side of that dash, we will have thruster control. So I've got some really nice buttons that flip up, and we'll have a few different buttons there. So as you flip them, the intensity of what you're hearing builds and builds and builds until you hit that launch button. So it'll be a big red button.
Big red buttons are almost mandatory for each of our buttons.
Absolutely.
Right?
And so I think
that ties back to the rockets.
It ties back to the rockets.
Okay. All right.
Ties back to the rockets. So it all comes full circle.
Our final thing to do was to get the vinyl Borderlands signs on the door and the front of the vehicle, and then weather the paint job. Weathering props is usually one of our favorite parts of any build. But with only a single day until we left for San Diego, Chris and I feared we'd leave it half done. In the end, we listened to Chris's wife, Maria, and threw ourselves into the task of completing the weathering. We did that just hours before we set off. Here's a look at the finished Borderlands Bandit Tactical Vehicle. Chris, Bob, and I are incredibly thrilled to have produced a vehicle with this many modifications in just a few weeks. It certainly doesn't look like a normal SUV any longer. In fact, it looks like it's fully ready to tackle the harshest environments Pandora can throw at it. Our team's first quest with the new vehicle was to pick up another member of our crew, Claptrap. We found him wandering around Regal's office, so we picked him up just in time to begin our journey. The trip. With the crew on hand and the vehicle ready, we launched the ultimate Borderlands road trip from our hometown in Knoxville, Tennessee. Regal threw us a great launch party at the amazing Pinnacle Theater. Friends and family stopped in to wish us well and see us off. From Knoxville, we started our cross-country tour of nearly 3,000 miles. We made stops at Regal Theaters in Atlanta, Georgia, Birmingham, Alabama, Shreveport, Louisiana.
Just arrived in Louisiana, getting a security escort down the sidewalk of this mall to our destination.
Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and Irvine, California. At every stop, the local Regal teams welcomed us to their theaters, and fans had a blast taking pictures with our amazing cosplayers. Claptrap was a huge hit with both movie fans and our employees. And speaking of our buddy Claptrap, boy did we have a surprise for him. As we passed through Dallas, the prop shop team stopped by the headquarters of Gearbox, the company that creates the Borderlands video games. There, Claptrap was awarded a proclamation from the mayor and the keys to Gearbox by CEO Randy Pitchford.
And welcome, Claptrap. Claptrap, since you're here, I'm not sure how long you're staying, but we wanted to give you the golden key to Gearbox. So Claptrap, the key to Gearbox. And you're welcome to hang out anytime. We've got a great snack room.
Our crew had an awesome time hanging out with the creators of these amazing characters and the universe they inhabit. Randy even signed the dashboard of our Bandit vehicle before we headed off to our next stop. At roughly the halfway point in our journey, we stopped at one of the most amazing movie-themed activations we've ever experienced. Mountain Dew set up a truly unbelievable experience for us by transforming the historic Monterey Motel into the ultimate Borderland roadside motel. This included custom neon signs, food truck, pinball games, character-themed brews, a world-famous DJ, and hundreds of Borderland fans. Our Bandit Tactical Vehicle was center stage for the action, and our cosplayers with Claptrap spent the evening partying with Borderlands fans late into the night. I can't say enough about how awesome this Borderlands-themed evening was. The Mountain Dew team absolutely blew us away with this epic movie-themed party. There were a lot of miles before we reached San Diego, but this cross-country drive was totally worth it. San Diego Comic-Con is the largest comic and pop culture event in the United States, and there is nothing like sharing the love of comics, games, and movies with 160,000 fellow fans.
Welcome to the Borderlands! Are you a Vault Hunter? Oh, yeah. Looking for loot?
Lionsgate had constructed an amazing Moxie Bar activation at the Hard Rock Cafe, and our cosplayers and Claptrap felt right at home. Fans from the convention spent time playing the event games, having Borderland-inspired drinks at the bar, and posing for pictures with our cosplayers. Our team also joined in the fun on the trade show floor by joining the Borderlands booth to take more photos with fans. It was incredible to connect with other cosplayers too, including Demetrius at Hellspawn Cosplay as Roland, and Jessica at Jessica Negri as Moxie. These artists are amazing, and their portrayal of these characters were simply stunning. A highlight of the convention for me were the trips the team made around the convention in our Bandit Tactical Vehicle. Fans simply loved seeing our cosplayers waving and posing in the windows and on top of our Borderlands battle vehicle. It was some of the most fun we had during the event. We were also extremely lucky to have Borderlands stars like Jamie Lee Curtis, Kevin Hart, and director Eli Roth talk to us about the vehicle and even test fire the rockets.
That is insane. Thank you. Thank you. So cool.
Thank you.
We built the vehicle. I'm Jonathan. Eli's auctioning it off. You want to sign it? We got. Next one.
Oh my god!
What an absolutely epic adventure. I can't thank enough Chris Dotson, our cosplayers, and the support team at Regal, Mountain Dew, and Lionsgate that provided us everything we needed to pull this off. I often say that my favorite thing about building props and replicas is seeing the joy they bring to the fans we visit. And this trip was no different. But I'd have to say the highlight for me on this prop shop was getting to build this amazing creation with my dad. He and my mother have always fostered creativity and shown by example how to solve the most complicated problems one step at a time. I will be forever grateful for this great opportunity to build something inspiring with him and this amazing team. And now it's time for you to gather your team of friends and family to see Borderlands at Regal Theaters, opening August 9th. And don't miss your opportunity to grab some of Regal's collectible merchandise for this epic adventure film by visiting store.regmovies.com.
This is the remote control for the DVDs. Every tactical vehicle needs to have a remote so that you have in-car entertainment.